Hi folks, Dave Schmidt here. I'm coming to you from my hotel room here in Bangkok, Thailand. And for me, it's about 4:15 on the afternoon of Saturday, August 27th. For those of you back home in the United States, it's still really early in the morning. I've been here for almost a week, and I'll be leaving here to come back home in a little over 24 hours. This trip has been quite interesting for me. It started because my relationship, as most of you know, with Michael Lee Hill, and he had become acquainted with a gentleman by the name of Jason Hill. Now, Jason and I had been talking and conversing for almost a month, and I had become to understand who he was and what his background was. Jason's a very phenomenal man, and he has given me permission to mention his name, and I will even share a picture of with him here on the newsletter. And the reason I can do that is because, see, Jason is a part of an organization called the Jason Society. You can look it up, and you're not going to find much about them. There are a few videos on YouTube that are available, and you need to know when you have the type of organization that they are, that are very private and very secret and very powerful, there's always going to be great opposition to them. So anybody can put anything on the internet and say anything they want to say. So obviously most of what is out there is going to paint them in a very negative light, not coming from them. They don't publicize themselves. But here's what they are. The Jason Society is a private organization of the most bright and brilliant scientists in the world. And yes, the video will talk about that. These are the scientists that are dealing with quantum physics and things that are so far beyond what is available to us here in the world today. And I've had the privilege to become acquainted with them. Jason, as I said, he's a phenomenal man, and I began to realize he's not what I would say a normal person. He's only around 33, 34 years old, but his knowledge is so superior to anybody that I have ever met personally. But they are an organization that is committed to helping fix and change and heal this world. And they are an organization that is also in touch with a number of different factions and clans of the dragon families. Now, you need to know, for those of you that are new to me, I have been saying for almost 4 years now, if there's going to be this RVGCR, who's going to pay for it? Where is all that money going to come from? And it's been in the last 2 years I have been in touch with different factions of the dragon families, and I have come to understand and know they are the ones that have this kind of wealth. And they are the only ones on this planet that have that kind of money to pay for what it is that we are hoping for. I've also come to understand and learn that there are 13 different factions and clans of these families. Some of them are very, very benevolent, and some of them are just plain flat out cabal. So when you hear about the dragon families and the elders, you can't put them all into a single box and think that they're all the same, because they're not. They're very divergent. Well, on this trip, I was able to be in touch with what is called the white dragons. And Jason is very much in touch with them and many others. And I've also on this trip, I have learned about why it's been taking so long for these funds to come through. I have learned why there are the constant disruptions, why there are the constant delays. Now, I'm not at liberty to go into depth about all of that, but I have also become more convinced than ever before that that money is there and it's very real. But I also need to admit there is no absolute guarantee that it's going to come to us. Now, I hope that doesn't create fear for you. But you can believe what you want, you can read what you want, you can listen to what you want, but I will still come back and say almost everybody that is out there on the blog sites, they never can give you an exact definition of who's going to pay for it. And that's why I call that deliberate disinformation. They may be appearing to be very honest people, they may have very, very good intentions, but it still comes back to their sources. It always is the sources. I've shared this with you multiple times, and I learned this when I was a state senator. If you really want to get to the root and the core of what's really going on, follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. And that's always been one of my passions, and I've been able to on this trip really follow it to what I believe is a very root core of that money. Now this group of scientists and professors, they are living in what I call a quantum world. They are the brightest and the best at what they do. You've heard me share, for all of you that have been on attended my workshops, we clearly are coming to understand through quantum physics that we live in a world that is really not physical matter. We live in a world that is a holographic paradigm. We live in a world that is just giant hologram, and it's almost like that we live inside this huge, gigantic virtual reality bubble, and we all got these virtual reality glasses on, and the world we are viewing and seeing is the world that our human mind is creating. We're creating our world that we experience. Now, if you're having problems with what I am saying here, I'm going to be very blunt and honest. Then you're still living in an old world of a Newtonian science, third-dimensional world that is the new science of quantum physics is beginning to tell you that world doesn't exist. But what it is, it's our beliefs and the belief systems that we develop that define and experience the world that we have. There are times that people will come to me and say, prove to me this is going to happen. Prove to me that that money is there, and then I'll believe. Prove to me that this is going to be safe, and I'll participate. You know, proof is very subjective. What is provable to you is not provable to somebody else. What is proved to me may not be proof to you. It all comes down to what you want to choose to view it and how you want to choose to believe it. That's the bottom line. There was one thing that Jason had portrayed to me very clearly on this trip. You are the people that are the ones that will determine how soon these funds will be released to you. It comes back to what I again have talked about, what is called heart consciousness. He has said very clearly, yes, there are dragon family clans that have a certain amount of funds that they can release, and they have the freedom to do that. But the amount that they have under their personal control is only about this much of about that much that is out there. Jason's group, the Jason Society, they know what's out there. They're very much aware of it. And they do have the ability to release whatever they choose to release. But they also know and understand, is the human consciousness ready to take this on? There was something that was very interesting you've heard about that I have referred to in the past by a gentleman by the name of A.R. Borden. He was a part of this organization called the ACIO, which was a clandestine branch of the NSA. And he had developed a group from within them called, the Labyrinth Group. And they were the most brightest scientists on the world, too. And what I'm finding is, the Jason Society is another Labyrinth Group, if not even deeper than the Labyrinth Group. But they had come to understand something. In the human mind, the conscious mind only processes about 18 to 20 data bits of information per second. But the subconscious mind produces and processes between 60 and 80 million data bits per second. What does that mean? It means that our subconscious mind already knows everything that there is to know. It's already in touch with everything that it is around us. It's in touch with everything that is going on in the world and in the universe and everything that is taking place. But we can't bring it from the subconscious mind up to the conscious mind all at the same time. There's a great little illustration. Is your conscious mind, when you're looking at a computer, you see what's on that computer screen. And your conscious mind is what is on the screen at the moment. And your subconscious mind is kind of like the World Wide Web. So the subconscious mind has access to everything, but it only brings up so much to the conscious mind. When you're on your computer, you have access to this massive World Wide Web that is everything out there all around us, but you can only bring up so much at a time onto your computer screen to process. Well, these scientists are the masters. that know how to literally bring up to the conscious mind well over, and I'm just using an illustration on this, where the average person is maybe 18 to 20 data bits per second. They can probably be processing in the hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million per second. And they know how to do that. They know how to make that. They know how to bring up to the conscious mind and to create and do things of what they want. What they have to do is just absolutely phenomenal. But here's what they also say. We're in touch with all this money, and we know where it's at. But they are the ones that also, with the technology that they have, they literally can read what is called our Akashic records. They can read what is called the Hall of Records. They can look at everything we have ever done in every lifetime we have ever lived. Why? Because they have the technology available today to go deep into the pineal gland, which gives you access to everything that is happening inside of you. Because as we are beginning to understand, is that, see, our DNA within us is one huge, gigantic computer hard drive. It holds the memory of everything we have ever experienced and gone through in every lifetime we have ever lived and will also live. And why do I say that? Because we have to come back and understand that time is not real. Albert Einstein told us that over 100 years ago, all past, present, and future is happening simultaneously. It's so hard for us to grasp. If we're still living in an old, what you call Newtonian physics, third-dimensional world, this stuff is going to sound crazy to you. But if you want to be someone who's going to move into the new world that is coming for us, into the new world that we are moving into, and you want to be someone who's going to help heal and shift and change this world, then it's important that you learn how to think that way. Because I have said many, many, many times, and I share this in every single one of my workshops, if you want to participate with me in this private exchange, this is not about you getting rich. That's secondary. Absolutely first and foremost is about being a vehicle, being an individual who we get to be the beta testers, that they are going to move literally scores of millions, if not billions of dollars through to help heal and shift and change this world. We're the ones who get to participate in that. There was one thing that Jason said to me very clearly. If you want the money, if you want to heal the world, then you need to learn to think that way. And what does that mean? The most important thing we can do is to learn how to get rid of your fear and your doubt and your anxiety. When you are fearful, when you are doubtful, when you are questioning, when you have anxiety, you are literally shutting down the energy perception that allows you to have the energy to bring these things about. The human mind creates everything that we experience. As a group, we can collectively bring in what is called the human consciousness to think in the appropriate manner to bring this about. And we will bring it about. I absolutely believe that. But it's not to me, it's not a question of if. It's only a matter of when. And I'm not going to speak for the other private exchanges. I'm not going to speak for what else is going out there on the blog sites. And I'm not going to speak about what everybody else is saying. I'm going to direct this to those of you who are here with us on this list. And this list is now over 10,000 people. If you want to participate in it this way, then here's what I encourage you to do. Learn how to get in touch with your fears, your anxieties, and your doubts. Those are all thoughts. And how do you get in touch with those? Through your emotions and your feelings. You see, your emotions and your feelings are the energy of your subconscious thoughts. And they are speaking to you. It is your subconscious mind is speaking to you through your emotions and your feelings. Your subconscious mind doesn't think of cognitive thoughts as the conscious mind does. It speaks to you through your feelings and your emotions. When you get in touch with that and are really in harmony with it, and you don't run from it, you face into it, you have the ability to process and to undo that part of the programming, so then you can allow the positive stuff to come through. And what I mean by positive, I'm not saying getting on this mantra is being positive, 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 positive. You can get on a positive mantra of all you want at the conscious mind. But if you're not processing the subconscious power base, then you're not changing it. It's learning how to change and transmute the energy of the subconscious thoughts, because thoughts are just energy. Everything in the universe is just energy. It's learning how to shift and change, as saying, yes, this is going to happen. Yes, I want to be a part of it. Yes, I want to help shift and change and heal this world. And yes, I have the right to have abundant wealth. And yes, I will have so much money to give away, I won't even know what to do with it. But it has to come from the place of the heart consciousness, where it's not about selfishness. It's not about greed. It's not about being in power. It's not about being in control. It's not about being better than my neighbor. It's not about using this as a form of revenge for somebody who has hurt you and wronged you in your past. It's about coming from the place of love. It's about coming from the place of healing power. It's about coming from the place of giving. It's about coming from the place of truly saying, I am here to serve, to help fix this world. It's really interesting because, Jason was on Facebook for a while and he took himself off because, he put himself on there, and within 3 weeks he had literally had over 3,000 people that were coming at him, and these are the people who know who he is. And they were attacking him. He had to just pull himself off. But his Facebook tag was healing the world for all. See, that is what they want to do. And as I said, in this trip, I've had the opportunity to, what I believe at this time in my life, is to be in touch with the people who really know what's going on. It made so much sense to me. And again, I think for confidentiality reasons, I can't go into great depth and details about, why there's been the constant delays. But I know now, and it totally makes sense to me. And why there are different factions of these dragon families and where this money truly is coming from. And yes, I truly do believe that the round one will be funded. But I also know, and I have to admit, there's an opportunity it may not happen. But Jason has been very, very clear to me. If you take the people who are with you, give them hope, help them learn how to shift and change and think the right way, you will collectively bring about the energy consciousness to bring this about into your life and into your world. We have the ability to deliver on that. But we are not here as Santa Clauses. We are here to reflect what is called the energy of the universe. And as you bring it through with your thought consciousness, then we get to step into that as a collective consciousness and to facilitate it, to bring it about. We will provide the funds for you as we see you as a group are able to shift and change and do it in a correct manner. Now, having said that, let me give a couple practical tips. Don't beat yourself up of feeling that I can't do this. Don't beat yourself up with thinking, oh, I'm having those horrible thoughts. Just process it. Let it flow. If you got a doubtful thought or a thought of fear coming in, it says, oh, there you are again. See, even be at peace with the fear. So you can say, oh, well, there you are again. Oh, well, I'm just going to let you go today, and I'm not going to allow you to be a part of my life anymore, because that is not who I want to be. It's a process of a step-by-step process of shifting and changing the old programming that is in our unconscious minds and replacing it with the programming that is positive, loving, caring, and giving. And then you become singular focused. It's interesting. In the last 2 months, I've had some of my very close friends that says, Dave, you're just really obsessed with all this stuff. And I says, no, I'm not obsessed. I'm very focused. I have learned how to become very focused and in what I call singular thought of helping to bring this about, and to let go of all of the distractions, to let go of all of my own issues. I just don't pay hardly any attention anymore to what's been put out there on the blog sites, because I know that almost the vast majority of it is deliberate disinformation to keep you in your monkey mind, to keep you scattered, so that your thoughts aren't thoughts of singular focus, so that your thoughts aren't thoughts of peace and certainty. And is to keep you in doubt, to keep you in your monkey mind, to keep your thoughts scattered and all over the place. And that is what they are doing, and that is what is creating the delays more than anything else. You can come back and try to get practical and says, no, it's because of the computer hacking. No, it's because of the cabal. No, it's because of President Obama. No, it's because of General Dunford. Listen, those are all just secondary, because what you're saying is you're allowing outside issues to control your life. The only outside issues that control your life are the issues that you let control your life. You can choose to view how you want to view this world. I started this whole process like so many of us. I was, how many years ago? 3 years ago, I'd get up in the morning and the first thing I was doing was listening to TNT Tony. And I'd go to bed at night and the last thing I did was checking the blog sites and see what's the dinar rates today. And I went through this process, and I had learned this stuff just doesn't make sense. But I never quit believing. And as I kept believing and kept staying positive and kept even more so letting go of all of the chatter mind of the monkey mind thoughts, doors just started opening for me. I have been down more rabbit hole trails than most people can just dream of. And yet I've even come to the point where I thought, so what? It's just my job. And I truly believe it is my job. It was this morning when I was texting or messaging back and forth with Jason. You know, he was talking about, it says, your intentions. And I says, Jason, my really true intention in all of this is to help these people, to help heal and fix this world, to do our part. I said, the easiest thing for me to do would be just to walk away. I don't have to do this. I don't need all of this money. And I'm supposed to be at the time in my life that I'm enjoying my retirement. And yes, I could live on my Social Security and my retirement pay and do fine for the rest of my life. But there's something that's so deep within me with the passion about why I'm here. And that it's my job is to help us as a collective group bring this about. And I'm very passionate about that. I really believe in that. And here's what I know. I'm going to get the money. I am. I will. Because I believe it. It's such a deep part of me. Do you want to come along and be a part of that? You're the ones who's going to make that decision. You know, the last 4 weeks now, I've had this explosion of new people joining, the private exchange list. And some people are choosing to say, I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm going to be very frank. Some of you along the way are going to drop off. You don't want to be a part of this. And you don't have to. You don't have to. I want you to know really clear. You don't have to participate in this if you don't want to. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. But there's an opportunity here. If you really want to believe in being able to shift and heal this world, if you really want to participate in something that's bigger than yourself, something that's bigger than all of us collectively, then do the work. Do the work of healing your soul. Do the work of getting rid of your fear, your anxieties, and your doubts. Fear is the biggest enemy you will ever have in your life. If it is your greatest enemy, don't you think it would be imperative to learn how to recognize it and to deal with it and to get rid of it? Nothing stops you more than anything except fear. Fear is the opposite of love, and it's also in a contrast to faith. And here's what's interesting, as most of you know, I've got a background of a master's degree in biblical studies. In the New Testament, in the Greek language, the word for faith and the word for believe at the root are both the same exact word. The only difference is one's the verb and the other's the noun. It's the only difference. Believe is the verb, faith is the noun. And Jesus had clearly said that for anything is possible for anyone who is willing to believe. And Jesus had approached this individual about believing, and the individual says, Lord, I believe. Help me with my unbelief. Help me with my fear. Help me with my anxiety. Help me with my doubts. Help me with my conflicts. Help me with this monkey mind that's keeping all of this from keeping me being singularly focused to believe in what I want. That's how we get there. Wow. I'm pulling open the shades and I'm looking out my hotel window here. I'm on the 9th floor at this massive skyline of downtown Bangkok, and it's a really interesting world here of contrast. I'm on the street where there's a number of very, very nice and wonderful hotels. I'm looking out my window at the JW Marriott. There's a couple others, really nice ones here, and it's all on this one little street. And then you go one block away. It's an entirely different world. See, Bangkok in some ways is an absolutely wonderful city, but it's a city of contrast. On one hand, it's a beautiful place with beautiful people. And on the other hand, Bangkok is known as being the sex capital of the world, of prostitution, sex slavery, selling children into sexual slavery. On this street that I'm on, it's the great world. One block away is the sex industry. Yesterday, for the first time, I walked over there and I walked down the street. My heart was kind of just breaking. I saw so many of these women that were just there, and I saw so many of these Caucasian men that were here to have sex. That's all that it is. And I'm not here to talk about, the pros and the cons of all that stuff, but it's about the fact that it's a world of contrast. Most of us know that the world of deep pornography and degradation and slavery of children and being used for sexual slaves is a very degrading world. But that's not even a debatable issue. And it's just one block away. Here's this huge contrast of two different worlds, just one block from each other. The people here on this street seem to do very well. The people on the other street live a pretty degrading life, and they're only one block away from a life change. You see, it's the world they choose to live in. It's the world they choose to focus on, and it's a world they choose to believe in. Our job is to use these massive resources of wealth to help the people a block away have a better life. That they don't have to live that way. They don't have to live in that degradation. They don't have to live in that poverty. They don't have to be slaves anymore to a life that they don't want. They can be free. They can make a shift of one block and move into a new world. And that's how simple it is for you and me as well. And the reality is, as a collective human race, we've been living for over 1,000 years in financial slavery. And right now, we're only one block away from being set free. But that one block is not a physical one block. It's a block that's in our minds and in our thoughts. It's there that the blocks take place. Undo those blocks, heal those blocks, and a whole new world begins to open to you. Thank you for joining me this week. This message is a little longer than normal, and I will continue on the radio program and just continue answering your questions about this process. A lot of you that are sending me the emails and bringing up the questions, may I just say a lot of your questions are based around fear? Now, and just be, can I say, please just be patient? A lot, they're going to be addressed, and all those will be addressed at the appropriate time, but deal with your doubts, your fears, and your anxieties, because a lot of your questions are around that stuff. And a lot of the questions, if I can be really honest, are silly, petty questions that you just need to do your own homework. I come back very often and say, you need to do your own homework. Why? Because in the midst of the process of doing the work, you are working through your own fears and doubts. That's why I do that. Okay. Love all of you. And it's going to be always nice to come back home to Sedona. As I said, it's Saturday afternoon here in Bangkok. I leave at about 1:30 a.m. on a flight back to the United States, and I'll be back Tuesday